Hi, my name is John and this is Business Focus. In today's video, we'll be talking about the recent controversy that one of the biggest noontime TV shows here in the Philippines, Eat Bulaga, has been in the news. In terms of the controversy of the mainstay host TVJ or Tito Vic and Joey has now left the show. What has happened to the show itself, Eat Bulaga? We'll be discussing that and what caused the problem to get to this point. Could this have been avoided, and what's to happen with the show moving forward here, and what's the lesson that we can learn from this scenario that hopefully can be avoided in other situations from ever reaching to this critical point. So in this particular article, pkbnews.in, it says here, what happened to Eat Bulaga? Why is Eat Bulaga suddenly shut down? Reasons are explored in this particular article. Now, when I caught wind of this news, I saw already the aftermath of the debacle that's happening when people were surprised where Eat Bulaga, the main hosts, are not already present there. And then there were news reported that the other host, not naming the main TVJ host, were offered a significant amount of money to replace the main host, which is TVJ, which obviously they declined because of loyalty for being with them for the longest time. And question is, what necessitated to the point that the relationship between the production team versus the host suddenly fell apart. And as I mentioned earlier, there was an interview with Joey De Leon by Julius Babaw. I leave the link in the description. You can watch the full video wherein he goes on to explain in terms of the problem has already started way back when the initial partnership started, when Tape Inc. took over of the production for the noontime show, wherein the partnership was not as close as one would like to be. I mean, it was professional. There's little minimal interaction based on Joey De Leon's response, which is obviously problematic, to say the least. But obviously, since it was a money making machine years later, obviously, if it works, if why fix it? If it ain't broke, why fix it, so to speak? And obviously then years later, decades later, or more about recently, wherein there were mentions of the patriarch of the Tape Inc., which is headed by Mr. Romeo Halos, which is a politician at the time, was the majority owner of Tape Inc. And due to getting up in age, his sons, John and Bullet Halosos, took over. And then that's where all the changes necessitated. Whether it was he said, she said from both camps that there were animosity between the two sides, but either way, could they have fixed the problem here? Because obviously, with the main host, Tito Vic and Joey, they are up in age, that they're hoping to get to the 50-year mark of the show, which would be a big milestone. And obviously, trying to replace those mainstays, those big icons, is hard to replicate here. And here we are today, with the debacle that's happening here, with all the issues. And if you were to watch the noontime show, the Eat Bulaga show is still present, but with a difference now, with a slew of what do you call this? With a slew of new hosts representing the show, which none of the original cast, the main cast, and the other host of the original Eat Bulaga is not present anymore. And according to the article here at manilatimes.net, the new host, you have Paulo Contes here, which is the only one I'm familiar with. You have Buboy Villar. You also have uh, Bentong Sumaya, Alexa Miro, Casey Legaspi, and Mavi Legaspi. None of those I'm familiar with. I'm sure they're capable hosts, but obviously they will always be compared with the original cast, and obviously that's hard to live up to, and it would be unfair for them. And which what happened is, obviously, people were clamoring for the original host to come back, and no amount of effort that they put in, which is not to their fault, they will always be compared. And it's hard to live up to those standards, which the TVJ, the original Tito, Vic, and Joey has built those their brands for more than 4 decades, which is it's impossible to even reach or even surpass. And it's unfair to them. Now the dilemma here is obviously, the damage has been done, the relationship has been severed. The question is, does taping still use the brand name Eat Bulaga, which I think they're in court now, contesting who owns it, whether does the original host own the right, or is it the production company owns the right, and such. Now, I'll keep you updated for future news regarding that news. But as of right now, given the situation, the show now is ongoing still, and it's being bashed because of people get used to seeing them on TV. Even at their latter stage, and they still want to do the hosting, helping people, providing entertainment, which is it's not an easy thing to do. The fact that they've been in the industry for more than 4 decades is a testament to their success, their ability, their connection with the mass audience, that people get accustomed. And if you've been that long in people's eyes, it's hard to replicate or even replace them, or attempting to replace them would be a futile aspect here, which is it's a sad thing that, yeah, you want the relationship to continue, and it's a beneficial relationship. Obviously they get paid, doing the job that they want, helping people, providing entertainment, and the production team generates a lot of revenue from advertisements and whatnots, to continue the partnership. And yet, such things do occur if the relationship is not taken care and managed properly. And these things do arise, and it's a sad state that has happened here. Question here is, will Itbulaga still be the same? Will the main host still have the name? I don't think for TVJ it would matter whether they have the name Itbulaga or they're using a different title for the show, because people will flock to their show knowing that it's them. It's not the name of the show, but it always helps with the branding, because actually in the interview, if you watched it, I suggest you do watch it. It's very insightful in terms of how Joey De Leon tells the story of how he came up with the name of the show Eat Bulaga, because at that time the main competitor, or the main popular TV noontime show at the time, was Student Canteen. So obviously during lunchtime, it's about it's eating time, and you want to combine words that can be impactful. And he came up with the name Eat Bulaga here, with playing with words, which was pretty interesting to say the least here. And it's a sad thing that these things do happen. And I just wish that they could have find a way to remedy the relationship. And what's interesting here, the TV network which airs the show, GMA, I don't know what's their role in this part. Could they have done something to help this? Because now you're leaving the one of your biggest time slots here for people to watch, and now it's moving to a different network, which is obviously a big loss for the network here. And again, now they're moving to a different show. I think there's another competing show, Showtime, I think, is also moving to a different network. Now that's another, is there controversy, I think, based on an article I saw, that the contract for that Showtime is already expiring. So it's a very fortuitous event that occurred. So it just slots in for the TVJ crew or team to move into TV5 smoothly, which is what was interesting. Joey De Leon mentions earlier, which I remembered all of a sudden, that he was on TV5 some years and decades before, where he created a show of similar to Candid Camera, where It's called Wow Mali, and that he used to be part of the TV network, and now he's come back in full force with his whole gang here. It's pretty interesting when this happened. Obviously, this is big news, especially here in our country. We'll wait and see as to how this further develops in terms of how is this going to affect the tape production. How is this going to affect the main gang TVJ and the networks? I didn't know that when It Bulaga started, they started at ABS-CBN Channel 2 at the time. And by the time I grew up watching the show, they've already moved to GMA 7, which is a big missed opportunity for ABS-CBN at the time, because years, decades later, they try to come up with different noontime shows to compete with Itbulaga, but to no avail. They keep on changing the show with different what do you call this, with different hosts. I mean, it worked for some time, but obviously being able to supplant Itbulaga, it's the branding is so powerful, which is just goes to show, the credibility that the three personalities have cultivated over the years. Obviously, even before they went into the hosting gig, they were already known celebrities in terms of their TV shows, movies, and actually their singing capability. That's where they started, which I was nostalgic in thinking that they could have gone back doing that, creating songs for people to follow, because they had that capability. It's like I think they were competing with the known trio of Apo Hiking Society, if you know that group. And they were the up and coming at the time, way back in the 70s and then the 80s here, which is another story in itself here. And anyway, that's it for the topic. So leave your comments below if you've watched the show. What do you think of the controversy here? Do you think could this have been avoided? And what's your feelings with the situation? It's pretty disappointing. Obviously, you want the nostalgia of what used to be, still be the same and even moving forward here. Anyway, you may have noticed I've changed the format slightly of today's video. Instead of doing a live stream, which I having difficulty lately doing the live stream because of scheduling and work per se. So I've decided to forego that format and create a pre-recorded segment and focus on business news, choosing on a particular topic for each week, so forth, moving forward. Hopefully, I can do this more so that I can share more news here, whether it's local news or abroad. Well, that's it for this week. So come back again on Saturday for more business news. As always, thank you for supporting. Continue watching the channel. So if you're new to the channel, if you find this informative, entertaining, or interesting to say the least, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button to help grow this channel. We're trying to grow the channel and hopefully reach 4,000 subs here moving forward. As always, I'll see you in the next one. Take care.